It's story time. It's story time. Come on, gather around because it's story time. Welcome to the story time with me. We're gonna read books. We're gonna have some laughs. We're gonna smile today. We're gonna have a lot of laughs because it's story time with Nina. Story time with Nina. Story time with Nina. Story time with
Hello and welcome to Story Time with Nina. My name is Nina. What's yours? Yell at the screen. It's so good to hear all of your voices wherever you might be all over the world. As you can see on our Hanukkah backdrop, we have how many candles lit? Everyone at home, kids, we've got 1, 2 candles lit. That means it's night 2 of Hanukkah. If you're just joining us, we're here because we want to know more about Hanukkah and celebrate the stories and traditions and the wonderful, wonderful festival of lights that's happening now all over the world. So welcome to night 2 of Hanukkah. Tonight we at Storytime with Nina are going to crack open another good book, go on an adventure, and learn all about the Festival of Lights. So I'm thrilled that you're here and you're joining me. And one of the most important and treasured tales is this Caldecott award-winning book, this Caldecott Honor book, which is by Eric Kimmel, and it's Hershel and the Hanukkah Goblins. I'm so excited to read it today with you. Now, during this wonderful Festival of Lights, have you learned anything new? Are you already celebrating? Or maybe you're Jewish yourself and you're celebrating the season with your family or your friends, and you're getting ready to have delicious food and wonderful, wonderful story times and camaraderie and fellowship with your family or friends. Well, I say happy Hanukkah to you. Happy night 2. And if you're not Jewish, this is a great opportunity to observe someone's traditions and to observe the holiday season that they're celebrating. It's such an important time of year for all of us, but right now it's so important for our Jewish brothers and sisters and our Jewish friends who are celebrating this Hanukkah season. So I say happy Hanukkah. And with that, I say let's crack open a good book and go on an adventure. Today's adventure is Hershel and the Hanukkah Goblins. This is a very special book. I say cuddle up and let's go on an adventure. So if you're ready for the story, make sure you got your sippies and your snackies and you're really comfortable because here we go into Hershel and the Hanukkah Goblins by Eric Kimmel. It was the first night of Hanukkah. Hershel of Ostropol was walking down the road. He was tired and hungry. Nonetheless, his step was light. Soon he would reach the next village, where bright candles, merry songs, and platters piled high with tasty potato latkes awaited him. But when he arrived, the village was silent and dark. Not a single Hanukkah candle could be seen. Isn't tonight the first night of Hanukkah? Hershel asked the villagers. Why, we don't have Hanukkah, Hershel, one of them answered sadly. No Hanukkah? How can that be? He said. It's because of the goblins. They haunt the old synagogue on the top of the hill. They hate Hanukkah. Whenever we try to light a menorah, the goblins blow it out. They blow out those candles and they break our dreidels. They throw our potato latkes on the floor. Those wicked goblins make our lives miserable all year long. But on Hanukkah, it's really bad. You can see everyone's gathered around very upset because of the Hanukkah Goblins. Hershel knew he must help the village people. I'm not afraid of the goblins, he said. No, tell me how to get rid of them. Well, it's not that easy as you think, the rabbi warned. You must spend 8 nights in the old synagogue. The Hanukkah candles must be lit each night. And on the 8th night, the king of the goblins must light them himself. That is the only way to break their power. I'm not afraid, Rabbi Hershel said. If I can't outwit a few goblins, then my name isn't Hershel of Ostropol. Well, the villagers wished Hershel good luck. They had no potato latkes to give him, so they packed several hard-boiled eggs for him to eat, along with a big jar of pickles. The rabbi gave Hershel a brass menorah, a package of candles, and a box of matches. Then the villagers said goodbye. Nobody expected to see Hershel again. They thought that was the last time they would see Hershel. It was long past sundown by the time Hershel climbed to the top of the hill where the old synagogue stood. The crumbling building was gloomy and dark, and rusty hinges squealed as Hershel opened the door. Hershel shuddered. Well, could he believe that goblins lived here? That's true. He put 2 candles in the menorah and set it in the windowsill. He struck a match and lit the shaman's candle. He said the blessings and was about to light the other candle when he heard a voice. Hey, what are you doing? Hershel turned around. Here was a goblin no bigger than a horsefly, with a long pointy tail and 2 little bat's wings hovering in the air. I'm lighting the Hanukkah candles, Hershel said. Tonight is the first night of Hanukkah. Oh, no, it's not. We don't allow Hanukkah. Not around here. Oh, is that so? Said Hershel. Who's going to stop me? A little pipsqueak like you? I might be little, but I'm strong, said the goblin. Really? Can you crush rocks in your hand? Said Hershel. The goblin laughed. Crush rocks? You're joking. Nobody's that strong. I am. Watch. Hershel took a hard-boiled egg from his pocket and squeezed it until the yolk and the white ran through his fingers. That's how hard I'm going to squeeze you if you try to stop me from lighting these candles, Hershel said. The little goblin's eyes opened wide, since in the dim light the egg looked exactly like a rock. The little goblin shook with fear. You leave me alone, he squeaked. Gladly, said Hershel, if you let me light my candles in peace. All right, said the goblin. One night won't make a difference, but you better not be here tomorrow. Big, scary goblins are coming, much bigger than I. If they catch you lighting the Hanukkah candles, you'll be sorry. We'll see about that, Hershel said to himself. And he lit the first candle. Look at that. Already, Hershel has outwitted the first goblin. Page turn, because I'm excited to see what happens. On the second night, another goblin appeared. This one was big and fat and waddled like a goose. Hershel was finishing his dinner of pickles and hard-boiled eggs. Have some pickles, he said to the goblin. Pickles? Here, catch. Hershel tossed him a sour pickle. The goblin caught it in his mouth and swallowed it. Pickles are good. Do you like them? I have plenty in this jar. Take all you want. The greedy goblin grabbed as many pickles as his claws could hold, but when he tried to pull his fist out of the jar, he just couldn't. Oh, I'm stuck. You put a spell on this jar to hold me fast. That's right, Hershel said, laughing. Ha ha ha. And it's a very powerful spell. You came here tonight to stop me from lighting Hanukkah candles. So now I'm going to light them while you stand with your hand in a jar and watch. How do you like that? Oh, no, the goblin screamed. I hate Hanukkah. Ugh. Hershel is using his smarts to outwit these goblins. Too bad. You'll just have to get used to it, Hershel said he said as the blessings and lit the candles slowly. Then he sang his favorite Hanukkah songs. The goblin wailed and carried on so much that Hershel finally decided to let him go. Shall I tell you how to break the spell? Yes, I can't stand it anymore. Let go of the pickles. Your greed is the only thing and the only spell holding you prisoner. The goblin let go of the pickles. His hand slipped out of the jar so easily. How that goblin raged! He had stood with his hand in a pickle jar while Hershel lit Hanukkah candles underneath his nose. The furious goblin stamped his foot so hard that he shattered into 1,000,000 pieces. Then the wind blew all of those millions of pieces away, along with the goblin. Now the third night of Hanukkah came. Hershel felt something watching him as he set the candles in the menorah. Instead of lighting them, he began playing with the dreidel. Night 3, he played with the dreidel. An hour passed. Hershel looked up. Sitting across the table was another goblin. This one had fiery red face and 2 enormous horns. It's getting late, the goblin said. When are you going to light the candles? Later. There's plenty of time, Hershel spun this dreidel. This is more fun. What are you playing with? the goblin asked. It looks like a top. It's a dreidel. Don't you know about dreidels? No. Too bad. Dreidels are a lot of fun. You can also make lots of money if you know how to play. Really? The goblin was very interested now. All goblins like money, you see, and this one was no exception. How do you play? It's very simple, Hershel said, but you must have gold. That's the first rule. I have plenty. Is this enough? The goblin poured a pile of gold coins on the table. Look at this goblin just giving away all of his money. Greed, yet again. Trying to win it all by spinning the top, also known as the dreidel. That's fine, Hershel said. Listen carefully now. This letter right here on this top is shin. If it comes up, you give me a handful of gold. This letter is hey. If it comes up, you give me half your gold. This letter is Kimmel. If the dreidel falls on this letter, you give me all of your gold. Do you understand? Wait, there's one letter left. What about this one? That's none. If the dreidel falls on none, I don't give you anything. Ready? Let's play. You go first. The goblin spun the dreidel. The little top whirled round and round. When it fell, the letter on top was shin. Oh, too bad, Hershel said, taking a handful of the goblin's gold. Try again. Maybe you'll have better luck. The goblin spun the dreidel once more. This time it fell on hay. This just isn't your night, Hershel said to the goblin, helping himself to a half of the goblin's gold. Oh, okay, one more time. Try it again. Your luck is bound to improve. Once again, the goblin spun. This time the dreidel landed on Kimmel. Too bad, Hershel sighed as he took the rest of the goblin's gold. Now, would you like me to spin? Said Hershel. Yes, the goblin grumbled, but he was very unhappy about losing all of his money. Hershel spun the dreidel. This time the letter on top was none. Oh my! I don't have to give you anything. I get to keep all the gold. Say, that was fun. Go get some more gold and we'll play again. What about the Hanukkah candles? We'll light them later. There's plenty of time. Not for me. I'm leaving now. I don't like this game. I don't like Hanukkah. And I don't like you. Don't go, Hershel pleaded. I know lots of games. Stay a while. We'll have fun. Goodbye. The goblin spread his wings, swooped out the door, and flew off into the night. And Hershel lit the candles all by himself. Hershel seems to have a good plan down. He seems like he's tricking them. On the following nights, the goblins came. One had 6 heads. One had 3 eyes. All were terrible and fierce. They growled and roared and changed themselves into horrible shapes. They tried to stop Hershel from lighting the Hanukkah candles, but Hershel fooled them all, each and every one. Finally, the 7th night arrived. 8 tiny candles flickered on the windowsill. Hershel sat back to enjoy their light. Where were the goblins? Had they finally given up? Hershel felt very sleepy. His eyes closed. Suddenly, he sat up. He heard a horrible sound, a voice that sounded like the cracking of bones. Happy Hanukkah, Hershel of Ostropol. Who is it? Who's there? Don't you know who I am, Hershel? Weren't you expecting the king of the goblins? The voice rose to a hurricane roar. It ripped the shingles off the synagogue roof and shattered the windows. The Hanukkah candles reeled in the savage blast, but they did not go out. You're too early, Hershel shrieked. You're not supposed to come until tomorrow. The great wind died down. Don't worry, Hershel. I am far away, but I have the power to see you and speak to you. Enjoy this Hanukkah evening, my friend. It will be your last. Tomorrow night I will come for you. You fooled my slaves, the other goblins. Let's see if you can fool me. Poor Hershel. What was he to do? The king of the goblins was on his way with no power on earth could stop him. Unless Hershel had an idea. It was a big chance, but he had to take it. It was the only way to save himself. And to save Hanukkah. It was the last night of Hanukkah. Hershel set the candles in the menorah, but instead of placing it in the windowsill, he put the menorah in the box of matches on a small table near the door. Then he sat down to wait. Night fell, it grew dark as pitch, and the inside of the old gloomy synagogue was very dark. Outside, the whole world lay cold and silent. Suddenly, a great gust ripped the synagogue door from its hinges. The whole building shook. A fearsome voice spoke. "Hershel of Ostropol!" Did I hear something? "It is I, the king of the goblins!" Hershel laughed. "Don't be silly. You're one of the boys from the village. You're trying to scare me." "I am not a boy. I am the king of the goblins." "I'll believe it when I see it. Show yourself to me." Hershel was not believing it. "Behold, I stand before you! Do you believe me now?" Hershel tried not to look. Even in the darkness, he could see the outline of a monstrous shape filling the doorway. A figure too horrible to describe. But Hershel, he pretended not to care. Hershel's up to something, and I like his plan. "It's too dark and I can't see anything. A candlestick and some matches are by the doorway. Why don't you light a few candles, then I'll see who you really are." "Indeed you shall!" A match flared. The shaman's candle caught the flame. Hershel's blood turned to water at the awful sight before him, but he did not lose courage. "Master of the world," he silently prayed, "thou who created the heavens and the earth and the spirits of the air, stand by me now." Then he addressed the goblin. It's still too dark. What are you afraid of? There are plenty of candles. Why not light them all?" A hideous hand took the shaman's candle and lit the other candles one by one. Hershel felt himself growing faint, but he forced himself to look. His eyes grew wider and wider as each candle caught the flame. 6, candle 7, candle 8. The king of the goblins stood before him. "Now, Hershel, do you know who I am?" "I know you're not Queen Esther." "Very funny. Enjoy the joke. It will be your last." "That's what you think. Be gone, or I'll take a stick with you." "How dare you speak to the king of the goblins that way?" "I'll speak to you any way I please. You have no power. Your spell is broken. See? The menorah is lit. You thought those ordinary candles were that you were lighting, but they weren't. They were Hanukkah candles, and you lit them all yourself." The king of the goblins roared with fury. The earth trembled and a mighty wind arose. It ripped the synagogue roof off and blew down the walls. It splintered the great timbers and scattered them like matchsticks. Around the menorah and the wind of the whirlwind howled. But the candles, they never flickered. No, they did not. They burned with clear, steady, bright flames. And the king of the goblins, yes, the king of the goblins had no power over them. The spirit of Hanukkah had triumphed. And you can see in this illustration, look at all of that destruction that the king of the goblins caused. And you can see in a very tiny picture, you can see Hershel and the menorah and the lights of the Hanukkah candles. The great wind vanished as suddenly as it had risen. Hershel, he rubbed his eyes. The night was still as before, even though the synagogue was gone. Walls, floor, roof, even the foundation stones had vanished, but the menorah remained, standing tall upon the little table where Hershel had placed it. Hershel waited until the last candle burned out. Then he started down the road that led to the village. "I better hurry," he thought. "I don't want to miss the last night of Hanukkah." But there was no reason to worry. In every window there stood menorah with 9 gleaming candles to light the way. The whole village was waiting for him. The whole village was waiting to celebrate the season of Hanukkah. This is the treasured tale of Hershel and the Hanukkah Goblins, and how important it is to always let those lights shine. Thank you for joining me for this special night, night 2 of Hanukkah. I wish you a very happy Hanukkah night 2, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow as we continue to celebrate the Festival of Lights.
You are wonderful, you're one of a kind, like a lucky star. You light up my life, so keep on smiling, keep on shining. Go big, be kind, be you. Now sing this to someone you love, someone you think is very special. You are wonderful, you're one of a kind, like a lucky star. You light up my life, so keep on smiling, keep on shining. Go big, be kind, be you. Anytime you're feeling sad and blue, remember you're special, 'cause there's only one you. You are wonderful, you're one of a kind, like a lucky star. You light up my life, so keep on smiling, keep on shining. Go big, be kind, be you. Thank you for singing with me, and always remember just how special you really are. Go big, be kind, be you. Go big, be kind, be you. La 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 la. 'Cause drag is magic, drag is for you, and drag is for me. Drag is for everyone, drag is cool, drag is fun.